Welcome to our message recap, where we go over the messages that we had just had the week before, the Sunday before. We are concluding Romans this week, and the message was that Kevin's a huge liar. Oh, no. That's not what it was.
What? That's what Batman said. Huh? Are we going to listen to Batman?
Well, you started off the whole message with Batman's not real. Batman isn't real.
And then
Batman showed up.
Came out. That was weird. Very odd.
Very conflicting message. So I don't know where to go from there.
Did we confuse people?
I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't see Batman.
That's because you and Batman were never in the room at the same time. Wow.
That is very, very strange.
Conspiracy theory going on.
We are going to have to watch for that the next time.
Okay.
Yep.
Who is Batman anyway?
Who is Batman?
Huh?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I did really, really love your Apollo
Analogy.
analogy.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. The story about Apollo and
Yeah.
failure is not an option.
This Gene Kranz was really, he took it seriously, and he realized that human life is very, very important, and it's he just put everything, said, hey, failure is not an option. And he was very, very committed to that. And therefore, he called everybody to be involved. And I don't know how much better of an analogy you can get with the church and you know, with Paul. And he starts out 16 with thanking all of these people in the ministry with him, which we don't talk about that very much.
Most of the time, at the end of his letters, that's the part you just skip and
you skip
okay,
over
I read all the important stuff in the letter, right?
Yeah. However, Paul had a lot of people helping him, a lot of people working with him, a lot of churches supporting what was going on. And even those two people that were in prison with him, I don't know, it caused me to stop for a minute and think, Paul wasn't the only one that was committed to this.
Right.
It was Christians that were involved in this. But I definitely think, and I don't apologize for this, I really think that it is God's desire that every single Christian person be engaged in this with the attitude of failure is not an option. Think about if we do fail. And I think I mentioned something in the message about, so whose loved one are we going to let down? Whose loved one are we going to fail? Do you want it to be your brother or your sister or your... No, failure is not an option. We need to do whatever it takes. But one thing we did not talk about in the message was, what does it mean to have that attitude, failure is not an option? Does it mean that we all should quit our jobs and just be what does it mean? Should we all be missionaries, whatever?
Right.
And we didn't have time to talk about that, so maybe now would be a good time just to bring that up. What does that mean? For us, it means full-time ministry. For other people, it may mean being involved in a ministry, or it may be in their neighborhood, whatever it might be. But here's the thing. Each one of us can answer that question. I think it's the attitude that's more important. It's the attitude that failure is not an option. What can I do? Now, you still have to go to work, and you still have to pay the bills, and you still have to do that stuff. But what can I do? And what maybe I can adjust some stuff to do. I think every one of us can support every Christian should financially support the work of this mission.
Yeah.
The work of the gospel.
Sure.
I think every single person should be praying for the work of the church. And we just went over that whole thing. You said it a couple months ago. That it's the church is option A, and there is no option B.
Yep.
Pray for the church. Attend, be a part of it, invite people. This whole idea of that failure is not an option, and God's called the church collectively as a unit to do this. Therefore, invite people, pray for it, give, serve where you can, be mindful of it all the time. So what gets me, and if you're watching this, I really have to ask this question. How can you just walk away?
My favorite part of the message yesterday was when you said, hey, if Paul were going to write a letter to us here, hundreds of you, your names would be on it, but would your name be on it? And like, how do you leave without answering that question? You know, but like, it's so direct and it can't be misconstrued or missed or like, he was talking about somebody else. Like, no. Are you at all a part of what God is doing? And failure's not an option, and this unity and work to reach others, and like, I don't know. I don't know.
I ended up getting 3 people come and said, hey, where do you need help?
Awesome.
Someone listened.
Wow.
Yeah. Multiple people
That's
listened.
a first.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, it's not a first, but it feels like a first.
Yeah.
And the amazing thing is, we still have gaping holes.
Oh, huge.
Gaping holes.
Huge.
Major holes.
What's really sad is when we don't get involved, we're letting all the other people that are involved down.
I think Paul writes something about that in another letter too, doesn't he?
Well, yeah.
Since we're done with Romans, can we talk about Paul's other letters now?
Yeah, in Romans, and it was one of your weeks, but you didn't cover it.
Oh, yeah.
But he also says it in Romans, this idea that we are members one of another. We are committed to each other in this thing, because there are hundreds of people in this particular church doing incredible things and really engaging in this. Hey, no one
Absolutely.
left behind. Everybody, failure's not an option. This whole thing, if we can do whatever it takes to reach one, we're going to do that. And then there are so many who aren't helping them. It's almost a slap in the face, And we hate to make people feel guilty, and that's not the point. To make feel guilt from us. It's hopefully to bring across truth. This is God's will. This is the mission. This is Christianity. Now, what are each one of us going to do with it? That's the point. What are we going to do with it?
So, trick question then. If I don't feel compelled to get involved, what should I do?
Probably spend time with God.
Oh, weird.
The more time we spend with God, the more we get. I really believe this with all of my heart, and that is that when we're in the presence of God, and we're just in the presence of God for glory and all that stuff, you can't be in the presence of God and not sense His passion and love to reach every single person. You just can't. And how selfish can we be to say, I want to enjoy God, but not be about reaching other people to enjoy God? It just doesn't fit,
Yep.
It doesn't fit. And we're all not going to do the same amount. That's, like I said earlier, the amount is not the point. The attitude is the point.
The amount, the role, the specific spot.
It's different for all of us. There's no doubt about that. It is so different. And so we're all at different places in our life, all of that stuff. But here's the point. Everyone do something. I think you can't get out of that. Everyone do something.
No other options.
No.
Okay, so here's a question that maybe you can answer in the comments as well. But so we just spent 7 weeks on Romans, familiar stuff. I mean, nothing real new. But what was like kind of the one thing that stood out to you, or like, or okay, God, I better spend some time with you. Like, what was your takeaway from the series, or one thing really gonna focus? I don't know.
I can answer that so quickly. So quick. Can I go first?
You can.
Go
Dave,
ahead.
you can. I just get clearly the simplicity of Christianity. Going through Romans and all there's the simplicity of it. Paul basically writes the same thing over and over again. It's just, to me,
somehow we made it 7 weeks long.
I know, but we repeated ourselves.
We did
We
quite
repeated
often.
ourselves. It's the simplicity of Christianity, and for me, it's so easy. Hey, everybody sins. Sin is judged. We're made right with God by Jesus Christ. If we try on our own, we're going to be disconnected from God, and because of that, we are compelled to be a part of what God's doing, to love each other, and to reach other people. It's just that simple. That I think you can take the whole Christianity and put it into that simplicity.
Seems pretty easy.
I just think you can.
It's probably about 4 things we could pick out of there and almost like make it a
well, it kind of does make a circle.
Make a circle or something.
Yeah.
I mean, we could.
I don't know.
Yeah.
We should work on that.
Yeah. We'll for another day.
Yeah.
For another day. 1 through 5 was like, why are we making this so difficult? Why do we choose to make something so easy so complex? I don't understand. I mean, I do. We're human. We screw up all the time. But
Sheep?
it's
I think that's the word?
maybe,
Sheep?
yeah, sheep.
Sheep.
But it's like nothing else in life is that simple and that black and white and cut and dry. There it is, you know, and this is. And that's what he tries to, I mean, that's what he does right in that first chunk. And if you don't get that part, circle back, read it again.
Yeah.
I'm going to circle back to that one. That's what we should call it. Circle back. That's
circle
funny.
back.
I think for me, it was because,
Because
because seems to be the thing that everybody can get or drift so far from. And it's a good reminder for why we do what we do. And it's a good reminder to go back and spend time with God if we see some discrepancy between what we read or what we think Christians are supposed to, or, all those other things, because kind of just fits nicely in there in all of it.
so without the heart.
Without the because, without the why, it seems like, and even Christians, and maybe you, and I know I had for years, this idea that, okay, I know that I can't live good enough, and we know about Israel. We just know that anybody who tries to be right with God by obeying what God says will be cut off. But yet we read other parts of Scripture, so we're like, well, you got to live like this. So which one is it?
Yeah.
Which one is it? The because makes this make sense. Because this is true. We can't be right with God by obeying God's laws, right? We know that. I mean, come on. All of Israel's been cut off because of that.
Yep.
So then why all this stuff? It's the because.
Yep.
And most of this stuff has to do with unity. It really does.
Yep.
And it all leads to the mission.
Yeah, pretty much. I don't remember when it was, but this was probably a couple years ago. I don't remember the message even, but we were reading from 1 John, and like this phrase has just stuck with me. It says, I think it's in chapter 4, like, since God loved us this much, therefore we ought to whatever. And to me, I just always think since makes it make sense. Like, since, because, out of all that God has done for us, makes everything else make sense. Makes us want to spend time with God.
Yep.
It makes us want to live differently. It makes us want to be engaged in the mission. Since makes it all make sense. So
That's a good one.
If you listen to the message and you just say, hey, you know what, I'm not going to engage. I'm just not. I love God. I mean, I would question how much I love God, but I'm made right with God through Jesus. You can be right with God and go to heaven and not engage in this. But the point is that if we are with God, the heart of God becomes our motivation, and that becomes the why, the since, the because, all of that.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Well, there you go. There's Romans.
That's Romans. We're finally done. Our next series is called,
You have to come on Sunday.
we'll find out.
9
That's
a.m.
a
only.
that is a weird title. You
know
have
what?
to come
Actually-
on Sunday.
We know what it is. It's actually not far
Not
off.
far off. You have to come on Sunday. No, you get to come on
Spoiler
Sunday.
alert.
Maybe that's the subtitle to the series. I don't know. You have to see.
Yeah, absolutely.
And don't show up at 10:30.
We're starting a new series.
New series.
And we're only doing one service, 9 o'clock. So don't come at 10:30. Otherwise, you'll be outside with the doors locked.
So
saying,
really quick before we go, really quick.
Where's Rachel?
Yeah, that's my question.
See,
Now, I know you weren't in there when Batman was there, so you might not be familiar with this. But
Yeah.
Batman mentioned something about finding Rachel.
Yeah.
Who's Rachel?
Rachel is his, like, not really his girlfriend, but like kind of wants her to be his girlfriend.
Oh.
And there's a scene in The Dark Knight where he's talking to the Joker. The Joker has taken Rachel to one location and Harvey Dent to another location.
Who's Harvey Dent?
He's a lawyer. He's supposed to be like the shining face of Gotham.
Okay.
And the Joker's not telling him. And so he slams the table and says, "Where's Rachel?"
Ooh,
That sounds like
it sounds.
wow.
I
Interesting.
mean,
Okay.
you do a really good.
So that's
Batman
Rachel.
impersonation.
Anyway.
Batman's sort of wannabe girlfriend.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. So there you go.
And you could tell who has seen that and who hasn't.
Everybody who laughed knew exactly what that line was.
Yep.
And everybody else is like, no, I mean, seriously, who is Rachel? What are you talking
And where is she?
What are you talking about?
Why are we looking
That's
for
where I
Rachel?
was.
Why are we looking for
Have we
Rachel?
started a search
Why
party?
did you
Like
just
why?
pick Rachel?
Have you never watched the Dark Knight trilogy?
Never.
What are you doing tonight?
Not watching the Dark Knight.
What? You want to come over?
It's too dark. I don't find that entertaining. Just dark. But
Oh
I
my
like.
gosh, that's incredible.
I like upbeat.
The Princess
stuff.
Bride.
I like things that have some kind of a storyline.
Look at the Dark Knight. We're back there again.
Hey, just so you guys all know, I tried to understand
The Princess Bride.
I tried. Went home. Okay, nobody in the room. I'm gonna watch this movie and see what is it that is so fantastic. Right. I watched the whole movie waiting for it to kind of get started, and it was over. Like I didn't understand one part of it.
Hello.
Didn't get.
My name is Inigo Montoya.
And you killed my father.
Killed my father.
Yeah.
Prepared to die. It's a great movie.
Okay, so what does that got to do with anything? I did
trying
not. I did not get it.
He's trying to take revenge on the six-fingered man. Okay, well, there's no hope.
There's no hope, I guess. If that's
Kevin's a simple man. He's gonna go home and watch Benji tonight. So that's fine.
No, I'm not watching
Something,
Benji.
a feel-good story.
No.
Old Yeller.
Oh, by the way,
What's your favorite part of Old Yeller?
Where the red fern grows.
I don't even know. But listen, you know what? Last night I had 3 of my grandkids over and one of my kids, and guess what we watched?
Not the Dark Knight.
Apollo 13,
Apollo 13.
for the
Oh.
45th time.
You or them? Both of you?
45th time.
Have they
for
ever
me.
seen it before?
I don't think so. No.
That's a good movie.
So.
I talked to someone at church yesterday. They said they had never seen it.
Oh,
never
my
seen Apollo 13.
Whoa, that's a pretty good movie.
It's a
And
great
it is
movie.
very accurate to what happened. Actually, what really happened was more serious than the movie played it out to be. But
Yeah, they downplayed it a little bit, but they,
and all the news clips in the movie were actually news clips. Walter Cronkite and all them were actual footage from when it happened. So anyway, yeah.
All right.
Well, there you go.
We'll see you next week.